We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
And we're back with Liberty Nation's chief political correspondent, Mr. Graham J. Noble. Now, earlier in the show, we talked the scandal-ridden presidencies of the past, but now I want to look to the presidencies of the future, Graham. Now, let's say that Donald Trump doesn't end up in prison, and even if he does, he still continues his campaign. And so he's the nominee for 2024, and that Joe Biden manages to realize that he's actually living in the White House and sticks in there for president to run for re-election in 2024. How do you see this going? Now, I'm not asking for predictions, but on who will win. But how do you see the campaigns playing out?
Well, of course, from Joe Biden's point of view, the biggest problem he's got is the economy. And that's why we've got this vast, I would call it, to use modern terms, a vast disinformation campaign being run by the Democrats and their kind of loyal media to basically say to the American people, you guys simply don't seem to understand that this is a great economy. What's wrong with you? This is fantastic, and why are you so down on the economy? Because it's the best economy we've ever had. And so they're desperately trying to convince the American people to, I think it was a quote from one of the Marx brothers, who once said something like, who are you going to believe, me or your own eyes? And that's the kind of thing, that's the kind of thing they're doing right now to the American people. So Joe Biden's biggest problem is the economy. Donald Trump's biggest problem is
Donald Trump.
His biggest problem is, I've always thought that one of his biggest problems is there are certain times when he should just keep his mouth shut and not react and not respond to certain things. And the other problem he's got, of course, is that the perception, at least, is that he is committed all kinds of terrible crimes. And so that's the battle we've got. That's the two biggest issues for the two candidates, I believe.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that the media are trying to convince the American public that they're living through the best economy they've ever had. It's almost insulting, isn't it? It's like you may look at your bank account and realize how little you have. You may go to the grocery store and realize how little your normal grocery spend will actually get you.
Yeah.
But that's just because you're stupid. This is what they're saying, right?
Yeah. That's right.
You just don't get it because you're too stupid to realize how good everything is for you.
I would say, just very quickly, Mark, I would say that's always been a trait, I believe, in my opinion, it's always been a trait of Democrats, is that they simply just look down upon everyone else. They just do.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. It's this unearned elitism that we see there. Now, it is true to some extent on the Republican side as well, but it's almost endemic in the Democrat side. So I think Ronald Reagan called the bigotry of low expectations. And they really epitomize that, especially this modern crop. So we have Donald Trump, and now you say that his biggest worry, one of his major worries, is that he doesn't keep quiet when he should do. He takes the bait for pretty much everything. And I wonder, that's absolutely, I believe that's absolutely what got him to this position where half the country can't stand him. I believe that's absolutely where it got him. However, now that he's under 4 indictments for 90 plus felonies, I mean, my personal opinion here is, speak to your heart's content, Donald. Get it out there, But they're trying to block him, aren't they? The judges are slamming gag orders on him. But I think that it will be that very, what's the right word? That bull in a china shop approach that will set him free. What do you think of that?
I sort of agree. I really do. I mean, basically, after before Joe Biden got into the White House, the common refrain, even from many conservatives, when it came to talking about Trump, was, well, he's a good president. He's been doing a good job as president, but I just wish he would shut up. I just wish he would stop tweeting. He's got a big mouth. Blah blah blah. I've heard this so many times from friends, people I know, and I think, but I think you're right. I think this using the legal system against him has been, and it's like a full on legal broadside, trying to get him for everything they possibly can. And I think and certain polls have even shown that even a lot of Democrat voters think they've crossed the line to actual political persecution.
At least 30% believe that.
And so now Donald Trump has gone from being the bully to being the victim. And so I think you raise a good point, Mark. I think if he can, the more he can basically speak out against what is happening to him now, I think that doesn't work out badly for him.
In 2016, what he really had going for him was that Hillary Clinton was the heir apparent, and everybody. I mean, not me, actually. I was, from the very start, Donald Trump's going to win this. Even from the beginning of the primaries, I was positive he was going to win. I wasn't sure I wanted him to win. Right. I was sure he's going to win. But yeah, Hillary Clinton was the heir apparent. He was not even within the Republican Party realm against all the other people who were in the primary. And so he was the complete underdog. And America loves an underdog. It's the subject of all the best movies out of America, is the underdog makes good. And that really helped him being in that position. But then in 2020, he had the pandemic to deal with. I don't think anybody can really handle a once in a generation pandemic or the restrictions that flowed from it. But he wasn't the underdog, not by a long shot. He was the president of the United States. But now, 2024, he's the most belabored man in politics, and he may or may not be guilty of some of the crimes for which he's being accused, but he's certainly not guilty of all of them. And many of them are novel approaches. We spoke with Liberty Nations Legal Affairs editor Scott D. Cosenza, and he talks about how new many of these charges are, that nobody's ever been charged with them before. Final word for you, Graham. How do you think this contest, this rumble in the jungle, this thriller in Manila, how do you think it's going to play out?
What you asking me for a prediction of who's going to win the next presidential election?
Yes, let's hear it.
To be perfectly honest with you, Mark, I don't believe that I can give you an honest answer to that, because it would drive so many people completely insane if I said what I actually believe is going to happen. I don't know. I don't see how Biden, wins just based on the economy. But again, it comes back to this thing: is can the Democrats somehow convince enough Americans that actually the economy is much better than they think it is? And I think that's going to be the big game changer there. But normally, history tells you a president with this bad an economy does not get re-elected.
Let history be our guide. Graham J. Noble, thanks ever so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure, Mark.
We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
Don't get caught up in the media madness. Join our movement for free thinking and free speech at libertynation.com. Publishing news and analysis 24/7 with original articles by our team of authors who tell it like it is. Join us each week for online TV shows, The Uprising Podcast, and Liberty Nation Radio. We believe in free thinking and free speech. We are libertynation.com.